to the Bullhucker podcast. I'm Liz Lundstrom.
I'm Adam Vokey.
And we have a guest today, another spawn of Densia. Your sister Chloe did not like that term, by the way. She was not into the
spawn of Densia. I'm kind of into it.
The youngest, well, not the youngest spawn of Densia, the youngest Stroh spawn of Densia. Then she went on and started making more.
Yeah, then there was a Gen 2.
Yeah. Second generation. Gaige Stroh, what's going on, buddy?
Not much. I'm excited, nervous, ready to go.
You're going to do awesome, but I'm going to tell you up front, we're going to do something new. Because most of your family's been on this podcast.
Yeah.
And who we haven't got, we're going to get Aunt Paula's next, by the way.
Okay.
We got it down.
Today?
No.
Gotcha.
But Dency hit her up. We're going to try not to badmouth Rick Stroh on this podcast, because every time poor Rick gets beat on this.
This is going to be a short-ass podcast.
I love you, Rick. I love you. I'm putting my foot down right now, buddy, okay?
Me too.
Because poor Rick, he gets I love Rick. He gets such a beating, though, dude. If you're new to the podcast, what we do is we have a guest come on, which will be Gaige this time. He's going to tell 3 stories about his life, but the kicker is only 2 of these stories are true. One's either borrowed or it's made up. Now, not going into great detail, Gaige, is it a borrowed story or did you make it all up? Don't elaborate too much.
Largely made up.
Okay, it's mostly made up, so it's got a little bit of truth to it.
Yeah.
Okay, let me turn it down a little bit. You're loud. Okay, so at the end of the podcast, what we do is we listen to all 3 stories, and Adam and I are going to try and guess which one we think is actually not his story. If you want to check out this podcast or any other podcast, you can find us on thebullhucker.com. You also might notice we're not at the Sands Theater right now. We are sitting at the Gladiators Boxing Gym down here in Fort Morgan. Address is 825 East Platte Avenue, Unit C. Now, if you wanted to check out this, you'll be in the description. Bullhucker.com is in the description. Their website will be below it. So click on that. Find them on Facebook. Come down and support them. If you want your kids to learn how to box, Ernie Marquez is a great dude. They have MMA here. They have an octagon. They have a boxing ring. They have a bunch of stuff to work out. So a lot of options down here. It's very reasonably priced. So come down and check out the Gladiator.
And they also have just fitness classes. Even if you don't want to learn how to box or wrestle or MMA or any of that, just come down and you can work out on Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays.
Okay. Let's see that.
So,
I should let you do
Ernie
this.
gave me the pitch. So Monday and Wednesdays at 6:30 and Thursdays at 6. It's their HIBIT class.
Yeah, for what's HIBIT mean?
High intensity boxing interval training.
Called my bluff on that one now, didn't you?
So, believe it or not, I'm kind of a gym rat, and I don't look like it, but I love working out. So
you know what? And Gaige, you look like you've been working out. You've been bulking out.
Yeah, I've been bulking.
You're such a skinny
Put on like
kid.
70 pounds in the last year.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Me too.
I think we all have.
Really where?
Yeah. I lift a fork. What do you lift? Sometimes a spoon. You know what I mean? One in one hand. You have been working out though.
I hit the gym a lot.
Is
Pretty
it-
much every day at this point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's not much else to do around here since I moved back. So
You're teaching.
yeah, teaching high schoolers.
Yeah. What do you do as a special?
I teach business.
Okay.
Those who can't do. So
Yeah.
doing that. It's crazy. These high schoolers, they're on some crazy shit.
The funny part is, Gaige, you're only 4 years subtracted from being a high schooler.
Yeah, but it's a different ball game now.
Yeah?
Yeah. I don't know what's up with them, but they're like, have you seen Euphoria? It's a HBO show.
No.
We'll look into it. These kids are living life like it's Euphoria, like it's an HBO show, so it could kind of sum it up for you. It's just like they're wilding out. They think they're adults. So,
Really?
yeah, but they're good.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they're still kids. They're nice.
And it's a small town. I mean, Fort Morgan still is a small town. So I mean, they're not. It's not like inner city youth. No,
not at all, not at all.
Right.
But
You haven't been stabbed lately, right?
not that I can remember.
Well, you'd remember. it's something you don't forget, you know. So that's cool, man. So you have a goal for working out? Do you have a?
This year has been to trim up and do abs. Once you like start getting to a certain point, you like realize what you haven't been doing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where I'm at now. So I realize that I haven't been doing abs since I started working out.
Right.
So I try to do that once a week, but it's a struggle.
Right.
You notice what you don't do for sure.
Sure. That's. Were you much of a workout guy before that, or no?
Yeah. Well, my mom used to do the classes and stuff, and she was always into fitness. So.
Right.
When I was in high school, I used to like interview potential group fitness people with her.
Oh, okay.
So we would like do their class, and then I would give her what I thought about it. And then I kind of kept it up during high school, but really like recommitted this year.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
In the Star?
Yeah.
How about you
Start.
moved? You moved. You go to the
Yeah,
rec
Stella's
center.
over at the Fort Morgan Fieldhouse now with her boot camps.
I
Yeah.
let the fork and spoon at my house. Usually on my recliner. So that's. Although I have been, I've been lifting. I bought the bands. That's how I've been
The
starting
the
with
resistance
bands. I want to do that. I go to the body firm for the treadmill because they have one that's strong enough to hold me. Because mine at home has the big error, like error. I'm like,
Been there, bro.
or just stop.
It's more of a conveyor belt.
Yes, it is. It is. I've used it for one too, but it'll just stop and you're like, "Ugh," and you fall down because your knees aren't like a young guy's. But I started doing the bands at home because there's some chick that goes. This chick is built, and so I was sitting there with my little dumbbells, and she's hulking out next to me, and I'm like, oh my god, like if it went down, like she could just like if I wanted it, I'd just take it from you, just so you know. And she's right, she would have. I'd cry and try and get her to do the humanity thing and not beat the shit out of me, but then I not.
You leave the gym crying and go to
But
McDonald's, get a cheeseburger.
I don't know who she is, but she looks like one tough customer. So she has nice biceps. I'll give her that. Cause,
Get her on the podcast there.
yeah.
All 3 stories will be about some dude at the gym
Yeah.
lifting 5-pound dumbbells.
Yeah. So this guy came back the next day. He was still trying.
Right. I mean, I'll give to this. He lifted like 4 times. I thought he was gonna.
Lisa's like, wait, all 3 of those stories are about me, and they're all true.
Yeah. No, there's one where I said I was impressed. That's the Bullhucker.
There was one day he was listing 15s.
Yeah. Awful. All right, we got 3 stories here. I can't, Gaige, you have Larry Lundstrom writing. You definitely have.
What?
We've got Cover Crazies, Grinder Gone Wrong, a haunting in Albuquerque.
Oh, it's a haunted story. I love haunted stories.
Cool.
Did you know that?
I didn't, actually.
Oh, you know what? I wish I could have warned you. We could have brought you back for October, because in October, that's my goal, is to have haunted stories. That's okay. That's
I love
okay.
haunted stories. Okay.
Are you a fan of the haunting, like ghost stories and all that?
Oh, I love all things horror. Big
Oh,
fan.
okay, cool.
Yeah, big fan.
Do you ever watch when I go to bed every night, it's on the Travel Channel now.
The Travel Channel?
Uh,
All the ghost things,
I
yeah.
love it. Love it. Love it.
Yeah, they have like 8 spin-offs of spin-offs at this point of ghost stories.
And you want to know why? Because idiots like me watch it. That's why. They're going to tell me that garbage no
You
matter what.
can't get enough of these white men running around yelling into the dark.
I know. That's all it is. And it's ridiculous. Some of them, because they'll be like, "Oh, did you hear that?
Oh,
Yeah, something just pushed me. No, they didn't. This guy doesn't believe in ghosts, but you like the cryptic stuff.
Yeah, I like cryptids, like the
I love it all.
whole like skinwalkers and Bigfoot and all that type stuff. That's what I'm into. So
wait, on that note, are you aware of Skinwalker Ranch?
yes, I watch documentaries on it.
So the hotel that I used to work at, the big company, they owned another hotel that was 10 miles down the road from Skinwalker Ranch.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I wanted to visit one time, but then COVID happened.
Utah, right? It's in Utah?
Yeah, it's in Utah. The
Yeah.
Unita.
And like-
is it Unit?
like
Unita?
rural Utah.
Yeah, right. But
Yeah.
it's northern, right? No.
Oh, like Eastern.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I watched a special on it. It's kind of crazy. If you watched it, you might like it. It's on Channel Channel called These Woods Are Haunted.
Yeah, I've watched that.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I'll have to check it out.
The dog man, that's my favorite. They couldn't come up with a better name. Like, it's a super scary animal, but they call it the dog, like Dog Boy, or whatever.
Like years ago, there was a show called Monster Quest that I loved watching, and it had like Mothman and like all the New Jersey Devil and all these cryptids.
Chupacabra.
stories. Yeah, that was one of them. So
But you don't believe in ghosts.
not at all.
Yeah, that's bullshit. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Not at all.
yeah. But you think a Bigfoot's real. There's something that we can't find, like nobody can find, that's 8 feet tall and smells like garbage. But you don't believe in ghosts. You believe in ghosts.
Yeah, I think I have this kind of belief that's like, I'll believe in it all because what am I kind of missing out on by not believing?
Sure.
In the meantime, I just live in like a very cool world lived with crazy stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. No, I love it. I can't get enough of it. I don't know if I'd actually go to a haunted house because I do have the belief they can follow you home.
Oh, like a real life haunted house.
Yeah, like one that's
Yeah, I would agree. Like
Like
attached
this-
to you and stuff.
yeah,
Like the Stanley.
yeah. I mean, like, what's the name of it? Gosh darn it! In Boston, she killed everybody in her family.
Oh, Lizzie Borden.
Lizzie
Borden,
Borden. Thank
yeah.
you, Lizzie Borden house. Because they say there's a lot of people that book a room there that do not
Yeah.
finish the night.
You can stay the night. I actually listened to a podcast and they stayed the night there, and they said it was pretty crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it Monsters Among Us?
No.
Check that one out.
Check out Morbid.
Morbid?
If you're into true crime.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll check it out. Monsters Among Us, it's a cool podcast because he has people call in and just leave their stories.
Oh, cool.
But he kind of tries to debunk them at the same time, or it might have been this. It's fun, but it's Derek Hayes. He's on all those travel channels now.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a good podcast. So, that's cool. It's January. We'll do a haunted one. So
All right.
We're gonna. You want to pick?
I picked first last time.
Okay, I am going to pick first. Well, the Honda one's probably one on here, but we're going to go with something different. We're going to go Grinder Gone Wrong.
Okay. So let me set up a few things. So you guys know what Grindr is, right?
Yes.
The
Yeah.
gay dating app for those of you at home.
When I first read that, since I work in construction, I was thinking of like the tool, a
Yeah.
grinder.
No.
A grinder, like,
No, very different.
He's looking like you're not missing
right,
the eyes.
I'm with you now.
You're not
but
missing the eyes or fingers. Gage couldn't went too bad.
I read that grinder gone wrong. Must not have had a guard on it. That's
yeah.
So I moved back to Fort Morgan in August from Denver. And as you can imagine, Grindr out here is pretty dry. There's not many options.
Right.
So right after I moved back, this guy hit me up. And he was like, not really my type, but he seemed nice enough. And we kind of talked on and off for about a month. And eventually, it was nothing too crazy or flirty. It was just like, hi, how are you? Nice getting to know you things. So eventually he's like, you know what, let's go out, let's go do something. And I had been home for a month and doing nothing. So I was like, sure, let's go. But I'm not going to be seen with you in Morgan. So we have to go somewhere else.
Right.
So I tell him that let's go to Greeley. So I'm like, so he's like, okay, let's go. So we plan it. I get there and immediately the house isn't. It's a little bit run down, but I'm kind of thinking to myself, I'm living in my parents' basement. Who am I to judge someone's living situation?
Right, okay.
I don't know what people go through. And I have no intention of this being a romantic thing, because
Right.
at the worst case scenario, it's a free meal. So
You'd make an excellent fat man, by the way, Gage. That's all I'm just going to say, bro. Because that's what I was thinking. Man, get the steak, bro.
yeah, just get the meal.
a fat guy and a comic. You're just doing it for food or the story. So
That's it.
So he meets me at the door, and immediately I'm like, okay, his pictures were very representative. I'm not attracted to this guy.
Right.
And we get into the car and we start going, and I kind of realized that I may have overcommitted a little bit, because by not wanting to stay here, that kind of dooms me to at least 2 hours.
The whole
right,
night, yeah. It's
there
way
and
longer,
back.
sure.
And he's just the vibe is off. He's weird. He's a little bit cagey and a little bit too cool for it.
What's Cage?
kind of like squirrely. Just
Yeah.
Kind of just.
Can't really hold a conversation. A little short.
Okay.
So I'm just babbling away like some fool, because I'm just scared of silence, I guess. I come after my mother.
I was going to say, your mother's son. I was exactly going to say that. That's what her and I have in common. We're not big with silence, yeah.
Exactly. So eventually I say something about Marvel movies, and he reacts to that, and he's like, oh, I'm a fan of that too. And I'm like, hell yes, I'm a huge fan. I can talk about this at length easily.
Right.
So something to talk about the rest of the time. So we get up to Greeley and we go to dinner, and I know that I'm not into it, so I get my exit plan ready. I go to the bathroom and I text my sister. I'm like, yo, I'm on a bad date. An emergency has to happen at the whim of a text.
Right.
And my little sister, she's pretty cool.
Which?
Elsie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she's like, all right, cool, I got you. So we finish up dinner, and dinner was weird. And he was like, oh, let's go see a movie. So I was like, all right, let's go. So on the way over there, I text my sister, and she calls me, Gaige, Lenny, my dog, Lenny ran out into the road and now he's dead. I was like, oh, chose a really big emergency to fake. So now it can't even be something where I can just be visibly distressed. I had talked about my dog and how I liked my dog.
Right, and the dog is now dead.
Yes, so I have to be upset for the ride back, and being honest is not an option.
Right.
So we get back, and I feel a little bit bad because I know as soon as I get in my car, I'm blocking him, and that's going to be the end of that.
Right.
So I get in the car, block him, and then just go about my life. Well, I don't know if you guys heard, but like 2 months ago, there was a murder in Fort Morgan. Like somebody got shot.
Yeah.
Right.
So one of my friends who's also gay texts me and sends me a picture of his profile, like a screenshot, and he was like, do you know this guy? And I was like, yeah, like I've seen him on there, not confessing to meeting him, much less going to Greeley.
Right.
Then he sends me another screenshot of the Fort Morgan Police Department Facebook profile. He had been arrested for that murder. So I went on a date with the murderer.
He's driving back thinking like, dog's dead, huh?
Yeah.
You're about to have that in common, Gaige Stroh. I don't care how much Captain America you want to talk about. I'm gonna stab the shit out of you.
Now there's no one to know you're not coming home.
So, wow. So he's got like that creeper vibe to begin with.
Yeah, well, when I was thinking about this, I was like, did he have like a murder vibe? But like, what is a murder vibe?
No, you don't know.
Exactly. So like, looking back, maybe it was a murder vibe, but to
Right.
me, it just came across as like douchey.
Like Ted Bundy was a very charismatic person.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You know, the guys who took over the planes in 9/11 apparently were great guys to their neighbors. You know,
Yeah.
Ahmed was fantastic. You know, yeah. So what is a murder vibe? The best murderers are the ones you don't.
Yeah, you never
That's
suspect.
a very good, yeah. So I mean, I guess it's for the best that I blocked him, and
Right.
I can't hold any guilt about that.
Maybe he was in love with you, Gaige, and that's why he killed somebody else. Maybe it's on you.
That'd be very romantic.
Yeah.
Or if you had kept dating him.
I'm
then-
waiting for a grand gesture like that.
I hope you don't get it. Let's just say that.
Don't get any
Gaige.
ideas.
As heard on the Bullhucker podcast, like you want to give a Gaige, you're gonna have to kill somebody. Okay, that's the deal. That's just, you have to
The views
murder somebody.
expressed by Gaige Stroh on the Bullhucker podcast.
That's a crazy story, Gaige. What do you think about that, Vilky?
That is crazy.
So it was that guy for sure, though.
Yes.
Was he convicted of it? Was he convicted of the murder? I don't.
I haven't really kept up since,
Yeah.
but I feel like the timetable's a little short for conviction.
Oh,
right?
that's
Don't murder
true.
trials
That's
take a
true.
while?
Yeah, they take a while.
But he was arrested.
But he was
for it,
arrested
sure.
for
Okay.
it.
See? True crime podcast.
True crime podcast. Yeah, you cut my little game. Okay, yeah. That's crazy, man. That's scary about meeting people online anyway.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it's kind of like, but it's honestly, it's the first time where I've been like, wow, there really are like murderers online now.
right. Oh, absolutely. I mean, you meet psychopaths all the time. I mean, try being our age and meeting people online because they're broken, right? I'm broken. If you're in your 40s, you're broken. There's so okay.
Sad sentiment.
Yeah, it is. It is. You don't say, do you like Marvel? Like, okay, let's get down to brass tacks. Something's wrong with you. Something's wrong with me. Let's just get it out in the open and see if it's going to be doable. Okay, like yes.
Yeah. What's your debt?
Yeah. What's your debt? What makes you crazy? No. Not what you put on your online profile make you crazy. Like what's going to make you snap?
Let's skip hobbies and go straight to credit score.
That's right. Yeah, dating's a bitch, man.
Trial by fire at this point.
Have you found? Did you ever have any luck with a dating app like that?
That's how I found my my ex-fiance.
Okay.
Yeah, so like a little bit. And plus, when you're a gay man, there's very limited options. All of them
Right.
are kind of like
In a small town.
hookup-y. So like, yeah, you have success, and most gay men are on them. So
Right.
But here, not really.
Well, probably a little. If they want, I don't know if they want to advertise in a small town too. I guess you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
it'd be like going online saying you're a Democrat in Morgan County. You know what I mean? It's gonna get you some trouble. You know what I mean? Like,
Fair enough.
You know, I get it. So that's crazy. See, I've had one. That's where I met Patty. Was on. Well, apparently I met her in person, as she tells people, but I was during a comedy show and after, so I was way too drunk to remember. You know, I told her
He
we
sent me a text. Do you know Pat? I was like, yeah, she comes to the comedy shows, dude. Oh, she does? Okay.
That's not how I texted. I said, hey, how do we know so and so? Like we're a hive mind, you know?
That's
like,
how I text my mom whenever she
Right.
tells any story or like I hear someone's name. I'm like, hey, who is this? Because I have gossip about them.
right. How do we know them?
Yes.
My
No.
mom will ask me, so you know so and so. I'm like, no. They're like, she goes, yes, you do. So they, blah, blah. And she goes right into. I'm like, no, I don't know them. But
Right.
if you say I do, then apparently I do.
And I've also like been gone for 5 years. Like names are not fresh on the
Right.
mind at this point.
Right. You were in Denver the whole time?
Yeah.
Okay.
I lived out in Colorado Springs for a little bit with Cabri, but
Okay.
Mhm.
Huh. Gabriel and Jaime.
yep.
All right. All right. I like the story. I have to hear a second one to kind of to base it against, though, to see how you
Okay.
do. So, Adam, pick one out.
Since you like the haunted ones, we'll say that one for last. So I'll
Okay.
go with Covert Crazies.
Okay, so I worked at the Cover Theater all during high school, and before I get into this, a quick point I'd like to make. So there's all kind of high schoolers working there, or at least it used to be. Not so much anymore, but it used
Right.
to be like all high schoolers working and closing down the joint. Well, when you think about it, like, what's the only other place on Main Street that's open at like 11 at night?
Right.
All the bars.
Bars,
So
yeah.
we used to have like a lot of drunk people, a few people on drugs come in, like just people who should not be seeing movies, and definitely not people that high schoolers should be in charge of.
Right. Right.
So, it was right after I started, and there was this really big kids movie I remember because there was a lot of kids there with their parents. And like the theater was absolutely packed. It was a super busy night. I was out on the red carpet area brushing it off because it was fall. And I hear this like yelling down the street, and I can't even. It wasn't even like mad yelling. It was just like yelling to be yelling, like ah,
Right,
and then like
right.
like loud thuds, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I go out to the street, and there's this woman who's like circling the corner from Queens, or I assume, and she's just screaming her head off and like throwing herself against these shop sides, like
Oh, guess what?
the shop fronts.
Oh, okay.
Like, you know,
Okay.
all those glass windows and
Right,
stuff.
right.
And so she's just like throwing herself against these. And I was like, what the heck? And Mike Tibbetts was in the box office, so I could see him from the outside. And I was like, yeah, you see this? And he was
Right.
like, yeah, crazy, right? I was like, yeah, Mike, that is silly. So I continue sweeping and like not thinking about it. And she's continuing to walk down the street, still going crazy, yelling, throwing her body against these shop sides. And eventually she's like directly across the street from me. And I kind of pause because I'm about to go back inside. And I look up at her to like get one last visual confirmation she's across the street. And it's like she felt me look at her, because as soon as I do, she whips around and makes eye contact with me. And it felt like the beat dropped in real life. Like it felt like that Nat Geo moment where like predator locks onto prey. And she just starts sprinting across the street. And did you want me to pause?
No, go ahead.
Oh,
Go
okay.
ahead,
So
go ahead.
she starts sprinting across the street, and so I just run inside. And another weird thing about the theater is there's not handles on the inside for like crowd control. So you can't hold those doors closed. So we're all inside, and I'm like, the crazy woman's coming across the street.
Right.
And right as I get that out, she bursts through the doors and like looks at me and lunges, and Mac and Mike ended up tackling her to the ground, and there were some police officers in the theater that were there seeing the movie with their kids that had come out for snacks, and that ended up helping and like pinning her down while the police got there.
How old is this lady? Ballpark, if you had to guess.
I would say like late 20s.
Okay.
But also they were a rough 20s, so she was like not in her prime.
She looked like 100 miles of bad road.
Yeah.
24 looks like 53.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
All right.
kind of the vibe she had.
All right.
So I had to like fill out the police report and everything.
Right.
And I never really got an update on it as to like what happened. I don't know if I want one or if like it would change my feelings about it. But
I like how you get in these dangerous situations, and then once it's done, Gaige just doesn't give a shit, doesn't fall through. Just think this is going to come back and bite him in the ass. At any point in time, Gaige is like, well, that was close. See you never, loser.
yeah, I just leave a trail of broken glass that I'll
Right.
never have to walk on.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I would like make sure, I'd like check up like, hey, that crazy bitch is like locked up, right? Like you said it. I'm sorry. Finish your.
Well, no, that's kind of the end of the story. But I guess to that point, like, I guess it could have been worse.
Right.
We had another person that was on acid one time and got into the projector rooms, and my coworker ended up having to pray with her for like 45 minutes while the police showed up. Like,
What are you seeing on acid? Like, what god are you praying to? Did she ask you that?
I believe it had something to do with the projectors, because the environment was definitely involved in the trip.
Right. Nice. I picture, like, you said, lady screaming. Like, you ever watch the zombie movies? Like
Yes.
the anti-fat guy zombie movies. I mean by that, the zombies that sprint,
Yes,
right? Like
no.
the ones that you're not going to outrun, right? When you said that, I picture like the survivors, like there's always the clip where the survivors are walking, somebody kicks a can, the zombie looks and right? Is that
That's
what it was
exactly what it was.
right. Well, Gaige, I don't want to tell you what to do, but usually you stab him in the head with something. I don't know. That stops the crazy.
Yeah,
you know?
I take the broom I was using and
That's right. That's right. How are you supposed to know she wasn't a zombie, Gaige? You're not a scientist, right?
well, now I feel bad about the whole thing.
You could have stopped her, you know. Pray on this bitch. You know.
Could have had patient 0.
Yeah.
Speaking of crazy in the Queens, remember that chick that night we were DJing there and she like put the hex on us? Remember?
Wait, a little bit. Wait.
So we were set up by the dance floor, and this chick comes over and she was like all mad at us about something. And so she's leaving. She's like looking at us and pointing and doing like these finger things by the door. I'm like, dude, I think she just put some bad juju on us. So apparently she left and went to the movies.
Yeah. That's where they had. That was the only other place open.
The two fat
Some
guys
poor
just
high
pissed me
schooler had
off.
to deal with her.
That's what it was. It's all it's like a Quentin Tarantino movie is what it is. Like it cuts from us pissing her off. She, and then here comes Gaige just sweeping away like, hello, ma'am.
Yeah.
You see the green elephant? Yeah, no, crazy. I forgot about that. You meet a lot of crazy people. Fort Morgan's got a abnormally large crazy population, I feel.
It keeps it so interesting, though.
It does keep it interesting. When you work in like in high school, I worked at the Wendy's. That Wendy's is notorious on this podcast. There was a homeless guy because you throw away food,
Yeah.
you know. And if this guy would have been cool about it, you probably. So the door's closed. So I walked up to him. Hey, you know, sorry, sir, we're closed. He, give me the chicken. He starts screaming, "Give me the chicken!" and kicking the glass door. And I'm like, no, 'Cause I don't think forward at all, thinking you gotta leave. You're closing up. Like it's you and the chicken thief outside who is crazy and homeless and gonna kick your ass over some chicken. So we had to call the cops and give me some chicken. Was what he kept screaming, like, I want the chicken. He's like, the cops are like, what is he talking about? I'm like, we sell chicken. I don't know. This dude thinks we have an unlimited chicken supply here. I don't know. He's crazy, you know. But as a high school kid, that's a lot because you don't.
Yeah.
Your view of the world is limited.
Yeah, but I mean, you're also they kind of desensitize you to it because it's like, hey, crazy stuff's gonna happen, but like police are kind of near, and plus you're like on Main
Right.
Street, which is busy.
Right.
Well, I guess as busy as Main Street is in Fort Morgan.
I mean, it's for Warren County. It's pretty busy.
Yeah, like one of the more densely populated areas. So they kind of like forewarn you. And after that, I did start carrying like a knife on me just in case any. Well, after the acid thing, it's like, what if some person on acid is in the projector room?
Gaige, if they're on acid,
I don't think I would have stabbed somebody. I would have immediately froze and probably like, I don't know what happened next.
I'm
but-
going to tell you right now, if they're on acid, you stabbing them with your Boy Scout Swiss Army knife is just going to piss them off. Okay, they're not going to feel that bad. They are going to eat your eyeball. That's what they're going to do. So crazy people. You ever had crazies in your high school jobs?
No, really, because I grew up in Southeast Colorado in Holly, so there was like 800 people in the whole town. And I worked,
Yeah.
It was just one of those things. There was some crazy people that.
You didn't have town crazy people?
Well, there was a couple. There was Six Pack Sam and.
See, they always got
And,
names. I love it.
Yeah, that's a great name.
Yeah.
But he never came into the grocery store. But
Why'd they call him Six Pack Sam?
I have no idea.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh.
it was just I don't know why they called him that, but that's what they called him.
There was one man
Six
named
Pack
Roy
Sam.
we used to call Pants because he wore the same pants every day. That's how inventive we were. But they call him Pants, and he did not like Mexicans, and he let you know. Yeah, so
Whoa.
Tony Cordova and I, long story with Pants, right? He passed away, and rest his soul. I put flowers on Pants' grave because you look back how much we harassed him as teenagers, such assholes. And one day, Tony had a little mutt dog named Mick, and Pants was walking across the street, and he fell down. I tripped on the curb and smacked his head. Oh my God. So Tony runs out there and he's bleeding, and Tony goes, I called 911, they're coming, and Pants goes, get away from me, Mexican. Tony's like,
Whoa.
wow, right? Pants then, there's one time he's walking, I brought up Mick, because we're so tough. You're so tough when you're a teenager, and he's walking by and Tony goes, Mick, sick him. And Mick was going to go sniff him. He's not a mean dog. And Pants punt kicks his dog, right? So what do you do? It's like scared little girls run in the house and lock the door because the old man Pants is going to stab us or whatever. So it's funny the crazy people when you're younger you run into, and you don't realize.
Yeah.
You're just an angry
Because you're
old
like,
man.
that's just a person with a bad day.
Yeah.
That's me now.
You don't have like critical social thought yet. You're not like,
Right.
that was a weird thing to do for a person.
Yeah.
You're like,
You would
but
tell
they have a
us
hard life.
every day that they should deport all of you. He'd say, and I'm like, to where? I'm from everywhere. Literally, I've done the math, and I'd have to be dropped off in the middle of the Pacific. That's where about that'd be the common ground
Which
of my
maybe
ancestors.
was the point, which is a
Yeah,
real.
yeah. Pants wasn't a fan of mine, but unless you asked him about his day in coffee, and then he would tell you about what they charge for coffee down at Crane's, and then it was just okay, But then it was back to the I hate Mexican thing. So,
You
Pants
see,
was-
you gotta find the one thing they like and
Yeah.
talk about nothing else.
What do you think the acid lady liked while praying? You said praying.
I feel like she may have been going through some religious struggles.
Acid.
Took acid about it.
I've never tried acid. All right, what do you think about that one?
I could see that happening.
Yeah, yeah.
I was just at the Cover last night, but there was no crazy people that I saw. So
Did you work with Yolanda Zink? Was she there when you were there?
Who?
Yolanda Zink.
No.
Okay. She was on the podcast. Yolanda used to be the manager,
Oh,
I think, of it
okay.
for a while.
No, I Tibbet sold it 2 years after I left.
Okay.
So I was there for their whole time.
Okay. She might have been way before you, but she had stories about the Cover Theater that I used to just in a theater in general, not just the Cover, like it's a bad place. Just every theater probably goes through this,
Well,
catching people doing acts of badness and
thankfully I never had that one. I feel like
Really?
in high school I would have been like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and just left.
yeah.
Just finish quick.
Yeah. Wow. You really like Star Wars,
Then I worked at a hotel and did night audit, which is 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. So I got a lot of crazy in my resume.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. What's the craziest thing that happened to you in the hotel business?
Oh, well, so we were pretty close to Red Rocks. There was this guy that came in, and he was like, there was a rave at Red Rocks.
Nice.
So he was like visibly rolling, so on Molly. And he came in like smoking pot. And I was there alone. And he was like kind of like a big dude, and so I was like, "Oh, sorry, yeah." I didn't say anything about him smoking pot.
Right.
Yeah, and so I just checked him into his room.
Rolling on Molly.
I was just saying we can't have young kids on this podcast because I don't understand the lingo. You sound like my 17-year-old daughter.
Molly came up before. That's how I did.
Right.
That's
But
how I
the
found out what it
whole
was.
like rolling. Okay.
He was tripping. That's what our
Right.
generation said. He was
I
tripping.
got it,
Yeah.
but it's just I feel like an idiot around my kids because it's like a whole different language. I know how my parents
Sometimes-
felt when I was in high school.
Sometimes my little sisters say stuff, and I'm like, "Am I getting old? What's happening right now?"
Right,
I, like,
right.
feel my bones aching.
Was that English? I don't even. Was that English?
Yeah, and then I'm just like crying and googling, like, "What is fleek?"
What's? Go ahead.
So my girlfriend lives in Kearney, Nebraska. So me and my girls were going back to Kearney this past summer for the weekend. My oldest daughter, who's 17, was giving me like a tutorial. She was like asking me, "What does yeet mean?" I was like, "Yeet? What the hell?" Okay. So then it was like ice and drip, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on here?" So I was like, "I don't know." She goes, "You don't know what any of these mean?" I go, "Because I don't talk like that." I said, "Go back and find slang from the 90s, and I will school you on that." The 80s and 90s, I knew them all. She's like, "Bodder." I go, "That's bodacious. You don't know what bodacious is?" She's like, "What?"
The term yeet. How I found that out. Matt
Yeet?
Gordon, yeet.
Yeah, no, I know.
So for Christmas on the city council in Brush, Matt comes to us and he says, they have in downtown Brush, they bought all those Christmas decorations they put on all the corners, right? And they were going to have, I don't know what they're called, but you put your face in it, it's got
Like the cutout
little
thing.
picture
yeah.
things,
But it was going to say Merry Yeetmas. And
That got one laugh.
I'm close to Kevin's probably the youngest now, but he goes, it was going to say Merry Yeetmas, and
Silence.
yeah, silence. I'm like, why would it say that? And he had to go through it and be like, so kids like yeet now. There's everything, he had explained to us what yeet was, and I'm like, that's horrible. I remember it was the yeet diggers. I can't remember. Anyway, It put the yeet, because we're the beet diggers here in Brush, Colorado. Put the yeet in it, and he had to explain to us, and we're a bunch of old people like, is that going to be cool?
The only thing better than like learning the young kid lingo is hearing older people learn it and then try to use it.
Right.
Oh, that's like, because
Right.
then it's like a meme and they don't even know it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's every generation. Watch a movie called Monster Squad. You ever seen that?
Yeah, I was a big fan. My dad got me that for Christmas one time, and I watched it like, oh gosh, so I like wore the DVD out.
Right. Well, there's a point where he brings the two kids in, the two leading boys, and the teacher's like, "I'm cool, man." Right. That's how I picture it, you know.
Yes.
I'm happening. I'm groovy, and they're like, "Jesus, you're old as shit's what you are," you know.
Literally.
So, yeah. Okay. All right. So Culver Theater. I'd like to hear Culver stories or theater stories. I like those stories on a podcast because it's a place you well know, and there's stuff that happens in every job behind the scenes that you have no clue.
Yeah.
I mean, you've heard Wendy's stories from me right and left of what happens in Wendy's or Culver's Theater or whatever. You know, there's crazy things happen to everybody's job, and you don't know what they deal with until they tell you these stories. You're like, seriously?
Yeah. And like what I was saying, like you don't think about like those are the only spots open at that time of night in Fort Morgan. Like
Right.
people have a limited option of where to go if they're
Right.
like drunk and can't drive.
Right.
So it's kind of a funny setup.
Right. You should have been old enough to go to your uncle's restaurant, your dad and your uncle, because they had
Yeah.
the idea to have. Remember that when the
Yeah.
Strohs did the.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it wasn't the chicken. It was Stroh's actually. Just the restaurant was a chicken in.
It's chicken in and then Stroh's.
Stroh's. Okay, but they opened all night after the bar rush.
Oh, cool.
I believe that's before they bought the club tap room.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Maybe
I think
it
that was
was.
more my uncle's.
Yeah, but they opened it up, man. And we used to go there sometimes, and it was like a Denny's or
Oh, cool.
IHOP or whatever, the bigger city where it's just a bad idea.
Yeah.
Like you don't want that business that bad. Like it's not, feeding the drunks is not. You're better feeding the sharks. So all right, all right. Well, we got two good stories. We got one more. This is the one I want to hear. It's a haunting in Albuquerque.
Okay, cool. A haunting in Albuquerque. So my grandma winters in Arizona, right? So we used to go visit her a lot. And on our way back,
Grandma Diane.
yeah, Grandma Diane.
What's up, Grandma Diane?
Hey. So we were visiting her, and on our way back, Carrie had some family in Albuquerque, and I guess I had never known about them. This was literally my first time hearing about them. So we were gonna stop and spend the night with them and catch up. So we get there, and the way it was set up was actually kind of cool. So his cousin and his uncle both lived in a cul-de-sac at opposite sides, so they were really near to each other, and we would be staying with the uncle. So we get settled in, and Carrie and my mom, they like to drink, they like to hang. So
Right.
they're over at the cousin's house, and they're drinking and hanging out and having a good time.
They're very yeet.
See what I mean? It's so much better. So much better than what it actually should be.
Okay.
So I started to get pretty tired, and I headed back towards the uncle's house. Well, the uncle's house was very weird. Well, it wasn't weird, but it did have one weird feature in that all the lights, instead of light switches, they were motion activated.
Okay.
Which, like, is a strange thing to set up, but whatever.
Right.
So I was sleeping on the couch that night, and I get there, I lay down, fall asleep, whatever. And then in the middle of the night, I wake up, and it's like I had been woken up, and it looks like a black shadow who's standing over me and looking directly down at me. And none of the lights were on, and I was like, "Hi, Mom." And
Right.
it was just dark, and I had just been woken up, so I didn't really think anything of it. But I did glance over and notice it was like 12:30 or something, or about that time. Didn't really think anything about it, but thought that was a weird way for my mom to check on me. But
Right.
just like,
Right.
so
Very creepy.
Yeah,
Not yeet at all.
So I fall back asleep, and I don't know, didn't think anything of it. Then the next day, we were driving out of town, and I was like, "Hey, oh no," and they were hungover, so I was like, "Oh, what time did you guys end up getting home?" They were like, "Oh, we got home at like 2 a.m. Like we stayed over there so long," and I was like, "Are you sure? Like who came and woke me up at 1?" They were like, "Nobody did. Like nobody woke you up at any point in the night."
Oh wow.
And I was like, "Are you sure?" And I told them what I had saw. I was like, "Yeah, somebody was standing over me, and like they must have turned off the lights because if somebody had came into the room and checked on me, it would have activated the motion lights. So
Right.
I thought they had figured out how to turn it off.
Oh, wow.
And Mom and Carrie kind of share like a Goosebumps look, and
Right.
are like, well, we should tell you something. So apparently, when Carrie used to come down from Nebraska and visit when he was a kid, they always hated staying with his uncle because weird stuff always happened. Like the cupboards would slam open, or like it was for sure that the house was haunted.
Right.
So like the only this sentence is gonna sound dumb. The only logical explanation is that it was a ghost. Sorry,
Right.
I know your feelings on them, but yeah, that's the haunting in Albuquerque. I found out retroactively that I had a ghost encounter.
It's cool they did that though, because had they told you before and then that happens to you, that's when the panic button sets in, right? That's when you freak out because you know that's a possibility it's there.
Yeah, and
you know.
what do you even? And I hate saying like I like my ghost story because I didn't know it was supposed to be a haunted location. It just looked like some suburban house.
Right.
So the only reason that I'm like this was for sure a ghost thing was because it was after the fact and it's the only explanation.
Right.
So
Right. That's crazy. And I know you said the Goosebumps things. I know your mom is not a fan of this stuff at all.
No, she hates all the scary stuff.
Funny story. We were filming one of the best of 2021 stories, and the breaker, because there was no, they're redoing all the electricity at the Sands. So we had one power cord that powered everything, and we had heaters by her and Michelle, and and it overloads the breaker. The breaker shuts off. So I'll have to find the video. Everything goes dark, and all I can hear is your mom going, "Turn it on, turn it on, turn the lights on. What's going on? Someone turn the lights on. Someone turn the lights on."
Part of that you didn't know. So you go to find the breaker. I went and grabbed my phone, and I'd found a video on YouTube that was like a haunted child's giggle. And so I start playing this video, and it's like, I'm right here. You can't see me. She's like, Adam, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing. Why? She's like, shut that off. Shut it off now. I'm like, what? And then you hear, do you want to play? And she's like, Adam.
I gave her when I gave her the tour of the Sands, and it's kind of a creepy place upstairs.
Yeah, a little bit. I've never been upstairs.
Yeah. The whole time she's kind of got her hand on my arm, like she's like, do you think I'm gonna out sprint you, Dignity, if something happens? Like, is that what you're going? And she's
It was so she could push you over.
Eat him.
Yeah.
But she's like, don't scare me, Larry. Don't scare Larry. I'm like, I'm not dancing. I'm showing you this up here. Larry, don't scare me.
She's like, where's Adam? Where'd Adam go?
But the panic in her voice on that video, she's like, turn the lights on. What's going on? Turn the lights on. Calm down, woman,
So I mentioned before that I really like horror movies, so I've suggested some to her
Yeah.
here and there. She's the best to watch them with.
Really?
Oh, pausing it, taking breaks, and then like
Does she really?
fully like peeking through the fingers.
Right.
It's the theater of it is so much. I love it.
How scary was scary stuff?
The
goat.
There was like some one of the movies was like pretty dark. It was about a serial killer. And then a few others that I thought were fairly scary.
Right.
So she thought they were very scary.
Wow. Like I said, I love that stuff. I love that haunted stuff, but I don't know if I would want to be around it because I do believe that stuff can attach, even if it's a demon,
Yeah.
can attach and follow you home. And
I totally agree.
And back in the day when I used to be a huge drunk and drink all the time, it didn't scare me because I'm passed out. You can haunt all you want.
How
dude.
can you haunt somebody who won't notice it?
Right. You're going to get frustrated with me way before I get scared of you. That's what's going to happen, When I wake up and shit's broken and knocked over, I'm like, damn, Larry, you got to quit drinking. I think it was
mad.
myself. Yeah, right.
The ghost is in the corner like, what do I have to do?
Now, why would I get drunk and write, I'm going to eat your soul on the mirror? That's the weirdest thing. God, Larry, you got to quit drinking, man. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore, It's crazy. So does he still live in the house, do you know? The uncle?
I actually have no idea. That was the first and last time I met them.
He owned the house, though.
I believe so, yeah. Because,
Okay.
I mean, from Carrie's side of it sounds like they had owned it, since he was a kid.
Wow.
So that's got to
Wow.
be 60 years? How old's Carrie?
Oh, 51 years old. Oh, I see what you did there. You're insulting him. I didn't get on that.
Yeah.
Damn it. Should erase that and take the shot back at him. Yeah, he's pretty old. I can't say because he's older than me, but looks younger than me. You know what I mean? Yeah. All right. Well, what do you think about that one? You don't like hauntings?
Well, I mean, I'm not saying I don't like them. It's just, I don't know. There's got to be a shadow or something. I don't know. I don't
A shadow,
believe it.
a shadow of who though?
Not
Oh,
a
well.
shadow of a doubt, though, because it's a true story.
Oh, bazinga!
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's got to be an explanation.
Did you
Other
know?
than it's haunted, that's the only explanation.
Did you know Adam felt that way about the supernatural?
I didn't. I
Okay,
actually didn't
okay.
know how either of you felt about it.
Okay, all right. Because that's okay. Because I've been caught a few times on that because of his disbelief, and that's the reason Jen Neb. That's the reason you got that one right? Because you didn't believe in the
Yeah.
that, and she openly tells you the answer at the beginning of the podcast. I don't catch it. She openly says, "I don't believe in ghosts. I don't think I've never seen one." And then I'm just like in my own little world, and then she's telling the story about the
See
steakhouse
the
where she
ghost
sees a
at the trail
ghost,
dust.
and I don't pick that story. She still beats me. You know what I mean? So that's when I realized I'm going to be the worst one at this. So, all right. Well, we're going to have to guess here. Gaige, I've given up.
Okay.
I've given up on the paper, rock, scissors, and I do 4 pumps. What do you do for paper, rock, scissors?
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
You're a 4-pumper. You disgust me. So I've given up because we did the totals, and I'm in the minority, to say the least. So your mom gets all bad. She's like, I don't know what's wrong with you. I don't, like, we're a married couple in the store. Like
She
people
does that
like,
with me.
Yeah.
She's acts like a married couple with everyone she's with.
Yes, she does. She does. But every time I'm like, yeah, I like 3 pumps. She's like, I don't know what's wrong with him. He's crazy. He's stupid. I don't. What's wrong with you, loser? Anyway, before we do that, I do want to say, if you're watching this on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. It's a little red dot in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. A little click for you, big click for us. No matter what platform you watch this on or listen to this, what do you listen to podcasts on?
Spotify.
You're a Spotify guy.
Yeah.
Okay, me too. Or iTunes, Stitcher, whatever. What's the big iHeartRadio? Please leave a rating and review, to support the podcast. It does help us out, and we do appreciate it. And if we catch it, we'll give you a shout-out. Adam will give you a hug. Free hugs from here on out.
I'll hug you.
And Adam's a good hugger. He doesn't hug too tight. But he gets good power in there. He doesn't get creepy with it, though. It's a
3 V's are in.
Yeah,
It's like an in and then back out. So.
I mean, he's a great hugger. I ain't gonna lie to you. He could teach a class. So
There's a friend of mine. I need to teach her how to hug better because she'll give me a hug and then it's like, okay, we're still okay.
yeah, it's 2 good slaps like that on the back. He does. There's no ass grabbing there. It's not in a weird area. It's like, okay, that was a completely friendly, I love you hug. That's cool. Okay. Anyway, you can get one of those hugs from Adam if you leave a rating or review, but let us know you left it. So, and also you can find all this and all our old episodes on bullhucker.com, and below that you can actually find the website for the Gladiator Boxing Gym here. So please make sure you show them some love. Come support them. It's a great thing they have going on here. At the beginning of the podcast, Adam told you everything you can actually do here. Ernie Marquez is a good dude, and he runs a great establishment here. So please make sure you support them, and all the information you can find there, or on the bullhucker.com. We'll have a link to the stuff too. So having said that, Adam, we're going to paper, rock, scissors now. Because I'm not giving up on that. It's not rock, paper, scissors. It's paper, rock, scissors. I'm not giving that. I'm not giving up. I'm not giving all in. Okay. I think that's the yeet way to do it. Are you ready?
Damn it, you got me again.
Oh my God! 2022 is the year of the moose, baby. What's up? Oh man! Adam was the Michael Jordan, Michael Phelps of this in 2020. He was unbeatable. Like, I kind of resented him a bit. Like, I thought he was cheating me somehow, which kind of were.
I kind of was because I was going 4, he was going 3, and we didn't know this. So he would like
How
throw.
did you not know that? When you were doing it, were you like, we're not going at the same time?
Well, no,
I
because
go-
he
and I
would
show,
do,
and
and then
like,
he would be
paper.
at rock, and I'd be getting ready to go do something else. So I was throwing rock every single time, and he's like throwing. I was like,
That's why I made
all
fun
right.
of your mother. Although I'm
So,
just as guilty, I
okay,
wouldn't tell her
I won
that.
again.
She knows now. I kept hitting scissors and kept losing. Like, your mother picks paper all the time.
Duly noted, actually.
And as I told her, like, Dency, you pick paper like always, and she's like, huh, it's not very yeet. Anyway, so I've won again. I am 2-0 against you. No, this is a big deal for me. So yes, golf clap. Thank you. Slow clap for Larry. Good for you. You're good at one thing and it's worthless. Good for you, Larry. So we have 3 stories. Adam, read them off.
Okay, so we got Covert Crazies, Grinder Gone Wrong, and a haunting in Albuquerque.
Now, do you believe any of those are absolutely true? Well, two of them are absolutely true. But
Right.
is there one
that
you're
stands out? The Cover one, I can see that happening.
Okay, so you got it narrowed down to the grinder,
and the haunting. How old are you? Like the haunting thing. How old were you?
I feel like I was in high school, so maybe like a freshman or sophomore.
Okay. Because I was thinking, if you were like a little kid, it's like part of a dream you didn't realize.
No, it's definitely because my little sisters like were kids at that point.
Right.
Okay. So, I think I'm going to go with a haunting in Albuquerque.
Is it just because you don't believe in ghosts?
No, I don't have anything.
Okay.
Well, kind of, but not really.
Do you believe in demons?
Have you met my girlfriend, Jugga's daughter? And yes, I do.
Oh.
She's horrible.
Does
Anyway.
Does her head spin around, spits green shit everywhere?
Not anymore.
You ever put holy water on her?
It burns. That's horrible. I'm single now. Actually, she would agree with me. So, yeah, I'm going to go with a haunting in Albuquerque. Just because I think the other two are true. Mainly.
Okay. So I think the haunting is actually a true story.
Okay.
I buy into that stuff. If anything else, I want it to be true. Not that it happened to you, but I think I like that kind of stuff. As I already told
like
you.
that mentality.
Yeah. That's probably why you got me right. It's the shit eating grit he's got on. Covered crazies. I mean, that's a believable story to me just because, I mean, I don't know. There's crazies everywhere. I mean, this is not an uncommon story for a teenager to tell. When you get your first job, you work as a teenager, you deal with the crazy people. The people in life who were once you had a great teenage job, had hope for life, like for a future, and then it went to shit, and they're like, you know what? Just throw all the sanity out the window. You know what I mean? What's it good? It hasn't got me so far this far. So Grinder, I'm going to pick for one reason. We might be talking about two different murders, but the murder I remember hearing, I think I know the wife of the guy, or there was someone, the Garcias were related to him somehow. There might be two. I mean, it happens more and more every time. So I don't know if it's the one I'm thinking of. That he killed someone. And plus, I don't know who would, like Captain America, would actually kill somebody. That doesn't make sense, Maybe Red Skull, right? I'll go toe-to-toe with Marvel with you, by the way. I got the nerd force is strong with me, bud, okay? Like, Adam.
It is.
I mean, come on, bro.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Grinder Gone Wrong. You're going to go Haunting in Albuquerque?
Yep.
No one's beat a set this year, Gaige. God, I hate that grin. He's got a little smirk on his face. Gaige, whip it out, brother.
All right.
Grinder Gone Wrong. I am 2-0 this year, baby. So what who is made up?
Yeah. So the true part of it, that might have been another murder. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
What had happened is there was a guy on Grindr, and I ended up blocking him because like it was a lot with the messaging.
Right.
And then he was kind of like a running joke with my other friend and I. Because we were like, yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And then it was the guy that was in the police department Facebook post.
Okay.
So the entire date sequence is made up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there was a lady, my buddy Jeremy works with me now, but we used to both work at Pepsi together, where there's a common woman we knew that worked at Walmart. And he's like, yeah, did you hear about her daughter was married to the guy who was shot? It might be a different murder. I feel this one was the recent.
Well, if it was the guy who was shot, that's not the murderer.
Oh, that's true. Oh, good point. See, the stupidity is good with me too. Like my, I
How
got
does
it
he
right.
beat
It
me?
takes two to do a murder.
Yeah, that's true. He wasn't murdered. Oh, that made sense. You just said that. I was like, huh. Very yeet of you to catch that. We don't got by under fucking 40 listening to this, so they don't know that yeet shit either. So, a haunting is true then.
Yeah, I guess it could be contested, but
Yeah.
from my experience, that one is true. Yeah.
Right, but you don't believe in demons, angels?
I have a hard time believing in anything I can't actually see. Says
Except
the guy
for
that
those
believes in
cryptids, baby.
Yeah.
That's just because I want to believe in that. I want that there to be a Bigfoot out there somewhere.
Weren't you the one telling me about that thing called a skunk ape or something?
Yeah, it's skunk ape down in Florida.
See,
In the
It boils
Everglades.
down to a little thing called faith.
That's true.
that angels
So
give you.
I haven't been to church in a while.
And the covert crazies.
Yeah, that one was also true. Had somebody charge at me. Only after you said this to him, like, yeah, I really don't think about much things after they happen to me. I
Right.
just kind of go about my life like, oh, that was weird.
Well, that was unfortunate.
Yeah.
You don't think that
Hope
could
that doesn't happen again.
You don't prepare for the future. Like, we should put handles on that door to stop. Well, you know what? I didn't die that time, so I'll probably be that lucky.
And I can totally see your mom being that way too. Just the
And
whatever.
I feel like that's where I get it from, because I feel like I kind of think about a lot, but yeah, don't really think about much how things could come back.
But,
Weird. Whatever.
but to be honest with you, Gaige, you're a young man. Still, you're 22 years old.
22, yeah.
Okay, I mean, it's going to happen to you when you get a little older. You're going to realize some of the stuff you'll be surprised you lived through. Honestly, there's
Yeah,
things that
fair.
happened to you already. I guarantee that you're going to look back in 10 years and be like, "Son of a bitch, how'd that not go south on me?" Right, Adam? Am I wrong?
Yeah, right.
How
yeah.
many times have you been like just done something incredibly stupid and thought to yourself, "Man, I should be talking through a box," or
Well, it's like on the Honeydew where he's talking about, all your like laundry listing, everything you've been through in life, and people don't normally do that. Like make a list of all the traumas and all this, and once you do, you're like, holy shit!
right,
I've been through a ton of stuff.
right. It's insane. So. That's cool, man. Well, Gaige, that was awesome. Good
Thank you.
stories. I got it wrong, although I got it wrong. Like, I'd be the weird detective. Like, he's going to get the right. It's like the new math they do, right? The Common Core math. Like, it's not right, but he got the right answer at the end, so I guess we're going to convict this guy now? He wasn't even the murderer, man. He was married to the chick from Walmart's mom. But I got it right, so up your ass. I'm 2-0 and 0-2, baby.
I'll make a
0-2.
comeback.
So,
I'll make a comeback.
call it a comeback. It ain't 2020 no more, man, okay? Unless shit's going crazy. Adam doesn't, he's only good in the crisis, okay? He's only good in the crisis. So, Gaige, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Yeah, absolutely. It was
Mark another one
Great
down
time.
for the family. We're going to get the whole family sooner or later. So,
gonna milk us for all of the stories we got.
Gaige, I'll be honest, you have the greatest family. You really do. I
No,
love your
they're
family
awesome.
very much.
They're
It's-
awesome.
I've been lucky enough to hang out with quite a few family affairs and all that stuff, and they're funny. But your family does have that very sunny side to them. You know what I mean? They are fun.
Yes.
They're fun people. They're close. I think the world of your family. So,
Well, thank you.
and Paula, you're next. I've had your sister Dency go after. She's
Sounds
my
like a
new-
threat. You're next, Paula.
yeah, you're next, Paula. Okay, she's gonna watch this and be like, when did Larry become not so yeet? That's a shitty thing. It's a shitty thing to say to me. So,
As my daughter would say, okay, boomer.
yeah.
She calls me a boomer all the time. I'm like, I am not a boomer.
Grandma Janice is a boomer, right?
Yeah, well,
What was the other term she said? The first one you said
What do you mean?
she was teaching you. They were teaching you terms.
she said yeet, and then there was
there's another.
Ice and
ice and drip.
No, there was another one that I had heard that you said it. And I'm like, ask him about that later, Larry. Get the lowdown on that word later. What is ice and drip?
ice is
just
like,
like-
a jewelry, and then
Yeah, like your
drip is kind of the same.
your style. It's like if you dress like real nice, it was like,
Yeah,
oh,
you're
check
dripped
out his
out.
drip.
His drip?
Yeah,
Listen, Gaige. My generation, you didn't want to look at anybody's drip. If someone had drip, you stayed the hell away
they got
from.
that shit treated.
That's right. That's right. You stayed. The drip is not something that you were even remotely like. You'd said this word, like this sentence, like, watch out for that dude. He's got drip. Okay. And it wasn't a nice suit. We'll say that. It was a. He didn't care. It was warm, and he just went for it. So that's what it was. He's a hoe. What are you gonna do? So, anyway, Gaige, thank you so much, man.
Absolutely.
Moose Lundstrom.
I'm Adam Vokey.
Later, Gaige Stroh.
See ya.
Peace.